Hey guys, just about to go and do my 6th session for the week. Actually, even though the volume is accumulating as the week goes on, I'm actually feeling a little bit better as the week goes on. So yesterday was pretty smooth. Hopefully today's going to be nice and smooth. Just get through the reps. Feel like I'm building towards something, so I'm excited about that program. You can check that out in the other videos, the Juster method, and hear more about what I'm up to at the moment. But I want to talk to you in this video about Arthur Saxon. Arthur Saxon was able to get 160 kilos plus, almost 170 kilos over his head with one arm. Okay, he was a strongman performer, and he wrote a book. The book was called The Development of Physical Power. He was born in the late 1800s, 1878, and in Leipzig, Germany. And he wrote a book about how to get strong, and there's some really nice points from it. I've just been reading it over the last few days. I love reading these books from the old school strongman, guys who got strong in the days before internet, in the days before even really being able to know what other guys were doing too much, what they believed in, and how they managed to get done what they got done. Arthur Saxon method was really simple. He kept it pretty simple, and a lot of the things that I'm going to talk about, quotes from the book, are actually things that we hold to be fundamentals of what we do. So it's good to get reinforcement from someone who's done something that very few people today would ever be able to equal, and learn lessons from those guys. So the first quote I've got for you is, general strength should include not only momentary strength. A genuine strength should include not only momentary strength, but also far more valuable kind of strength known as strength endurance. Okay, so Arthur Saxon believed that strongman competitions should have lots of events and not too far away one from the other, so that guys had to be able to stand up to not just being able to lift one heavy weight once and then being dead, but being able to go back to back to back with heavy loads. So he's not here talking about necessarily the ability to do lots of sets of 30 or sets of 50 on a given exercise, but the ability to repeat high quality strength efforts. And that's something that we work on, that we believe in. So yes, you want to improve your 1RMs, but you also don't want to be completely smashed if you have to do 50 sets of an exercise. That shouldn't completely destroy you, shouldn't break you, cause an injury, mean that you can't train for a week or a month. If you want to train for strongmen, if you want strongman events, if you want to train for gymnastics, all these things require a high level of muscle endurance as well. You have to be able to tolerate a lot of volume of training as well as intensity. Most natural powerlifters will also believe in higher volumes, and gradually volume will increase. Weightlifting volume increases from year to year. As you become more proficient, then volume and intensity will both increase in elite weightlifting. So interesting that Arthur Saxon was able to acknowledge the value of strength endurance and not just being able to perform a feat once. We want to improve our 1RMs, but as even a strongman athlete would know, that you need to be able to go and to go again and to go again in repeated efforts, and that's really what real strength with the rest pause method is really about, being able to perform a good intensity and continue to perform that over and over again. And it was a big mistake that I made, to always just worry about that one big effort, and that led, I think, to a lot of injury and a lot of slowed progress. Since I've been more focused on being able to perform something a number of times with good quality, good form, I've beaten all my records. So I really believe in the value of the strength endurance as well as maximal strength. And that was also one of the key messages from the Juster method. If you check out the Rock, Iron, Steel video, the Juster method, he also talks about just being absolutely hammered by doing a day's labor in a different job, and that teaching him that just being strong doesn't actually, maximal strength doesn't actually mean you're strong for life. And so we want to have both for sure. Let's go through some more of the quotes here. Imagine in your mind the weight in a position you wish it to be. Before you attempt to lift it, then you're more likely to succeed. So imagine in your mind the weight in the position you wish it to be. Before you attempt to lift it, then you're more likely to succeed. Okay, so talking about imagining what you want to achieve before you actually go and do it. This is really important for us. We need to have an image of what we want to achieve and where we want to get to, and continually associate with that image within a session, outside of sessions. And this is how we're going to continue to progress. First we do it in the mind, and then we do it in the physical body. This is always the way it works. The quote that I was about to read that I was struggling with was, do not make the mistake of limiting your practices to any one set of lifts. Okay, so Arthur was really big on, at that time there were kind of 4 key lifts, but he was really big on not just limiting yourself to those 4 lifts, but being able to perform any kind of strength feat. Being able to work with any kind of bar, being able to perform any kind of strength feat. Of course, he had his favorites and his ones that he would perform more in shows, and so they experienced high frequency, and that's how he got to such an extreme level in them. But he believed in keeping that big base of movement. Now we've got lots of different labels for different kinds of movements. We've got gymnastics, we've got weightlifting, we've got strongman, we've got powerlifting, but really they're all just strength feats. And I fundamentally believe that this is what Arthur's saying here is spot on. Do not make the mistake of limiting your practices to any one set of lifts. So if you just stick to any one of those sets of lifts, you will develop weaknesses and you will be poor at the other ones. Okay, so just doing gymnastics, my experience is that guys who just do gymnastics become very poor with barbell strength. I've seen this over and over again. Say powerlifters become extremely slow, have a lot of difficulty with weightlifting, with moving a weight powerfully. Weightlifters, it's very well rounded, but you want to keep some upper body strength. You want to still be able to do some gymnastic feats. If we're just interested in strength in itself and not necessarily competing or being awarded for what we do, then we need to keep that broader base. Even if you want to excel in one of those areas, I believe that we should keep that base of general strength and capacity to move at different speeds in different ways. Carefully adjust your work to your condition at that moment. Okay, that's a key one, just about auto-regulation. This becomes more and more, the further you get with your training, the more feel you'll have for whether you should be doing a certain session or not. A lot of elite lifters and elite coaches go a lot more by feel than set programs. Difficult to do for guys who are doing a lot of online programming or working with bigger groups. It can be difficult to auto-regulate from day to day, but small adjustments based on what's going on in your life, based on your grip strength that day, those kinds of things will in the long term help us to push ahead. But we need to build first a base, get to an intermediate level probably before we deserve to really make too many individual fluctuations. We can get to a good level just by continually just being consistent with our training and working sub-maximally and getting the reps done. That's really what it's about initially. Another quote, there's nothing so splendid as to feel yourself stronger than one's fellows. Okay, so Arthur Saxon loved being stronger than other guys, and he was talking about the general population there, but he also happened to then become stronger than any of the other strongmen at that time. And he celebrated that. That was something that he enjoyed, and I guess most of us probably do really enjoy that as part of what we do, being able to do things that no one else can do. I believe I'm working towards a point, and this community is working towards a point where no one else can match what we do. And that's exciting. That's exciting because it creates a legacy and it creates something for other people to aim at. And people will always chase that, and they will go to new levels. And that's what we want to do and we want to create. So, celebrate and enjoy the fact of it being above average, of bringing up the average of the population. The man who works hard requires more sleep than the man who wastes his day in idleness. To devise sufficient sleep can only mean, in the end, a breakdown. Okay, so 100%, we're going to need to sleep more if we train hard. He knew it, we know it, we've got to do it. It's harder in this digital age to get that sleep, and we want to work more and we want to do everything more, but we have to get that sleep if we want to get to the highest level. It's the only option. He spoke a bit about food. Meat, eggs, and beer were the main things that he spoke about. At that time, everything was organic. There was, very little chemicals being used in farms and fields and that sort of thing. Maybe there was starting to be some fertilizers used, but things were really high quality. So high quality natural food is really what he thought that his vitality and his capacity to train at that high level came from. Arthur Saxon, The Development of Physical Power, great book. Be inspired by guys who got super strong over 100 years ago. and look into what they did. There's a lot of technique, methods of old lifts, and explaining technique of those old lifts in the book. Arthur Saxon, phenomenal athlete and someone who paved the way for us to go further with ourselves, for ourselves, a century later. So let's get super strong and let's continue to learn from the guys who've been there and done that, and build on the knowledge that they've created. Keegan Smith, Real Movement Project.